Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Crafting Journey. I'm at home, as you can see, try not to make you dizzy. Hey, don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's Crafting and Crime episode, and consider subscribing or becoming a member. And don't forget the notification bell, because I never do consistently post at a particular time, the Crafting and Crime show. Just depends on when I get done editing. So this morning, I am combining a couple of activities: filming, Jesus, way colder than I thought, Tootsie, and walking. I started walking yesterday. I took Tootsie for a short walk because of the rain, and our backyard is such a mud puddle. So today, I thought, I gotta get some exercise, real exercise. So we're going to walk. Boy, I don't know though, during my live last night with Marissa, I got the worst cramp in my hamstring. And I don't know if that was because I walked for the first time in eons, but I thought, this body needs exercise. Wow, it's cold out here. So let me turn you guys around. How do I turn you guys around? I can't turn you guys around. What? Anyway, there's the church behind me where we're gonna walk. And this big old field here. So today is National Blueberry Cheesecake Day. Not a lot to say about that. Blueberries were not domesticated until the 1900s. Yeah, before that you just have to go out in the wild and pick them. My glasses are falling down. Did y'all see Tootsie? Tootsie, say hi. Look how happy she is to go for a walk. She's like, oh, thank God this woman is gonna walk me finally. So, not much to say about blueberry cheesecake. It's yummy. I think I prefer strawberry. I don't know, what do you guys think? Or chocolate cheesecake, or any kind of cheesecake. There we can combine two activities, talking about cheesecake and walking. So later on in the show, I will tell you the answer to the scavenger hunt questions from yesterday. So I turned the camera around so you can see where we're walking just for a few minutes. There's some construction that's going on at the church. This is the little driving area, parking area in front of the church, where I was trying to teach Malia how to drive, and my house is way over there. So this morning I get a phone call. What was it, early? I woke up about 8 and then fell back asleep. I was up late last night because I was in so much pain, and the pain medication was not kicking in fast enough. Oh, we're not going for a long walk. See, I'm freezing. What is with this weather? It's windy and cold, but we're going to go a little further than we went yesterday. She's like, oh, and this dog, when she decides she's not done with a walk, you have to keep walking. Oh, good girl. So I go back to sleep. I get woken up at 10 o'clock-ish, which is I gotta go do a show and walk. So, and it's this nurse, and she's like, you're scheduled for a colonoscopy on June 1st. I'm like, okay. Didn't know that. I had to postpone it. And they had told me to call back later in the year that they were fully booked. So apparently someone rescheduled me without my knowledge. So, yeah, guess what I'm doing June 1st? Yeah, happy days. That'll be fun. Oh, wow. All right, so maybe if I walk a little faster, I'll warm up, right? Oh my gosh. So, sorry about the confusion last night with the Craft With Me Wednesday, but I did try the redirect to take my subscribers over to Marissa's live. And apparently what happens is when I end my live, an option will come up for whoever's been in my live in the chat. that you can automatically be switched, or you not automatically. You just have to take. It'll tell you that you're going, whose live you're going to, and you have to say yes, I think, and then you'll go into that live. So I think it might have confused some people, but that's okay. So that's where I was last night. After 30 minutes of my live, we all got redirected over to Marissa's live, Crafty Heifer. So kind of confusing, but hey, it works. It's kind of fun knowing that you can redirect people to another live. It's kind of fun. The other thing you can do is make your chat subscribers only. Yeah, I think that's kind of rude. I would like everybody to be available to be in my lives, whether they're a subscriber or not. I mean, that's kind of a personal choice who you want to be subscribed to. And sometimes I just like to go in people's lives and see if I like them, you know? And maybe I want to chat. I don't know. You could also make it members only, but that would be really uncalled for. Oh, this guy has really nice lawn. Why does my lawn not look that nice? Nobody else's lawn looks like a mud puddle. Of course, I'm not going into backyards. Hey, what are you doing? Come on over here. We got to get back home because I'm freezing. Yeah, like I said, this is not a long walk today, but it is longer than I walked yesterday. Oh my. All right, so I will continue this show once I get back in the house. Okay, welcome back. Don't forget to hit the like button. I don't know if I mentioned it out there. I'm teaching him how to loom knit, and he's doing a bang-up job. Yeah. So let's pick up where we left off. I did want to continue talking about National Day. You know, it's Blueberry Cheesecake Day, but I wanted to continue the scavenger hunt because I haven't told you the answer to yesterday's riddles. So yesterday was, if I'm no pawn. So when I think of pawn, I think of chess, the game of chess. And we're looking for game pieces here. So don't get any ideas. So it's not the pawn on the chessboard, but it's going to be one of those pieces. And I've got moves too. I've got power and can jump. Woohoo. So this would be the chess knight. Now, I don't know enough about chess to know which piece that is. I don't. But yeah, that was the answer to that. And nobody got it right. Oh. A lot of you said checkers. I'm watching the cats. They are like in a mood today, really. They're playing under the rug. They're attacking the dinosaur. I came out here. The yarn was on the floor. Yeah, they're in a mood. But there's no buckets of water anywhere. But I have a nice clean carpet where the bucket of water spilled. Anyway, next one. While dancing cheek to cheek, we might also be putting on the Ritz. This piece has got game. It also got a little glitz. Now, this was a very difficult one. You would have to go to Monopoly Top Hat. What? Yeah, in a million years, I don't think I would have figured that one out without cheating. And yeah, Top Hat. And everybody said, I have no idea. Nobody knew. All right, couple more. You want to do two more? Let's do a couple more. Dagwood wouldn't eat me, but he might name a sandwich after me. Before the game even starts, I might be sitting at the bottom of the sea. What is it? Okay, and remember, it's a game piece. So it's not the game we're looking for. It's some kind of piece that's in the game. Then the next one is earn 4 points toward victory using me. I make you score. Double me, triple me, unless I'm absent and riddle poor. These are both really good ones. So I hope you're enjoying these. The like button sure does. He can't get up any of them right. But yeah, so today I'm going to be cross-stitching while we talk about crafting and crime. So I got to tell you, not a lot to say about yesterday. Late on day 5 and pretty much all of day 6, the prosecution played the various phone calls that resulted from the bump. Now, let me back up a little bit here. In case you missed the bump. The bump is where the FBI has set up an operation to create chatter amongst the players in this case. And the way they did that was they approached Donna Adelson on the street, handed her a piece of paper, and they got to see that on day 5. They actually got to see video of this guy walking up to her. And by the way, Donna Adelson looks so young. Oh my goodness. I didn't picture her looking that young. But he approaches her on the street, and he calls her Mrs. Adelson. And are you Mrs. Adelson? And good looking, tall guy, like you just, and he kind of scared because he's a big guy. And she just seemed sort of taken back by the whole thing. She didn't really say much, but she took the paper and put it in her purse, and they both went their separate ways after that. And the chatter began. So the last thing you see on the video is her walking off to go to the school to pick up her grandchildren. Now, I'm threading the needle. I'm getting the needle onto the fabric. Then we'll be okay. Here we go. So, then we start to hear the phone calls that go back and forth. There's a phone call from Donna Adelson to Charlie, and that's pretty clear. You know, she explains what happens. Then we hear a phone call between Charlie and Magbanua. Now, the problem with their conversation and the conversations that Magbanua, the ones that are between Charlie Adelson and Catherine Magbanua, and then Catherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia, are coded. So they're not actually saying what they mean to be saying in one phone call, and they're very difficult to hear, these phone calls. The jury and everybody in the courtroom has headphones on, so they can hear like an enhanced version, so they can actually hear what's being said. But the poor cameraman that's in the courtroom, he can't hear nothing, and we can't hear hardly anything. So I was at a loss to tell you a lot of what went on yesterday because I couldn't hear it. But I do know that the substance of these phone calls, the ones that I could hear, were coded. For example, at one point when Catherine is talking to Sigfredo, she is asking him to clarify the amount of something. I forgot, is it $60.75 or is it $66.75? Something like that. But when the prosecution asks the detective, are those numbers significant to you? He says, yeah, it's the last 4 digits of the phone number that I gave them to call. And yeah. Then we hear, so that it's all coded. And then when there's a conversation that we actually can hear between Catherine and Charlie, they keep talking about this real estate property that's come up for sale. It doesn't want to buy it. And I mean, after you listen a while, you can kind of glean that they're not really talking about property that's for sale. They're talking about this whole situation and whether they should pay the money. But it's very confusing, very confusing. And he's like, the problem with property like that is once you buy it, you put tenants on it and they keep coming back and they keep, asking for more stuff at the house. And, so it follows the theme of the restaurant. Now, they did play the restaurant video, which is almost an hour long. And, I could not hear it, because like I said, the cameraman could not hear the enhanced version. So I actually found a separate YouTube post from the Tallahassee Democrat of that phone call of that meeting in Dolce Vita, which it was an hour. And it's captioned, so I can actually read what Charlie and Catherine are saying to the best of, a lot of what Catherine was saying, you could not pick up. She's very soft spoken, and the detective that did the recording has said even at times Charlie, who's sitting at the table across from her, is leaning into her saying, "What did you say?" Because she's very soft-spoken. So the problem with the recording of the Dolce Vita meeting was that they're in a crowded restaurant. They're seated next to a swinging door that goes into the kitchen. So in and out, these people are going. And then once you get into the kitchen, that door, there's a dishwasher right there. So you hear dishes clanking. And so this forensic engineer was hired to enhance the video. And what that does is he just kind of scrubs the whole, he has a program that scrubs all the background noise. And so I did listen to that in its entirety. And what I gleaned from it was that they don't talk about Dan Markel's murder. They do not mention it. But what they mention is clearly the activity of the bump. How are we going to handle it? Can we handle it one of two ways? We can either, call this number and tell them either you're going to take the money that we're going to offer you and you'll never see us again, or we're going to go to the police. And if you take the money, I don't know, better not come back or something. Charlie was very worried that if he paid this money, they would come back for more at some point, that this was blackmail. And he says it's probably just a bunch of thugs. He says, or it could be the police. At one point, he's telling Catherine, they monitor phone calls, and they could be, and they could have cameras all over this restaurant. There could be 5 cameras on us right now, which is very ironic because there were lots of cameras on you right at that point, Charlie. Yeah, and now you're sitting in jail for it. So he was actually giving Catherine instructions on how to handle it. And she's like, why me? Why am I handling it? Well, because you were mentioned. He mentioned you that, my family was taking care of you. So call this number, tell them that you were given this information because you were mentioned and that you want to make a donation to charity, and if you make this one-time donation, you don't want to ever hear from them again, or you'll go to the police. I mean, he's a very controlling person, this Charlie Adelson. I mean, I'd be the same way. Why do I gotta make the damn phone call? You make the damn phone call. And she never made the phone call. I think she said she was going to, and then after that we hear that the exchange between her and Sigfredo, where she's talking about what's the number, and then she actually calls Charlie back and she's asking about, remember that number you gave me? I'm confused about the digits, and I called both numbers that I think it is, and they're not answering it. Could you get me that number? He's like, oh, it's at my house, but I might be able to get it another way. So then he calls his mother, and he's like, Mom, did you write that number down that was on the piece of paper that guy gave you the other day? And she's like, no, I gave the paper to you. I didn't write anything down. And he's like, oh, I got it at my house. And so they're clearly all very worried about this, what they perceive to be attempt at someone blackmailing them. But they never go to the police. Nope. They're trying to figure out how to handle it. And then at one point, Charlie does call the number. Finally, Charlie gets some balls and calls the number. And the officer answers, and he kind of reiterates what he had said before. Listen, this is my brother. He's sitting in jail. And you're not taking care of him. You're taking care of Katie and Sigfredo, but you're not taking care of my brother. And Charlie's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me call you back. And that's that. So he doesn't call him back. Now there's a couple of other ways they try to create chatter. They mail a letter to the Adelson home, and in this letter it just says, we haven't heard from you. And then there was another instance where they called a dental office and they asked for Donna Adelson. So all this is what the jury heard yesterday, and make of it what they will. The defense is just maintaining that this all amounts to more, it creates more questions than it answers. Yeah. I guess my sense is Charlie at this point is not dating Catherine. So why does he have to have this meeting with Catherine to figure out how to handle this? Like, he doesn't meet with anybody else. He meets with Catherine. I don't know. It's just way too much of a coincidence. And this is what the prosecution says. They want the jury to think about what is it you're not hearing, versus what you're hearing, which is interesting. So the prosecution rested their case yesterday, and the defense is now putting on their case today. So I do not know if Catherine Magbanua is going to take the stand. She did in her first trial. I don't know if Garcia is going to take the stand. Sigfredo Garcia, her baby daddy. He was not listed as a witness by the defense, so maybe not. That'll be interesting. I suspect she's going to take the stand, but when I tuned into it this morning, it looked like they were calling back police personnel that had conducted interviews with Luis and Jessica Rodriguez. And what they're trying to do with that is to prove that these people were coached. Into what to say in the court. But I don't think that's going to fly. These interviewers are pretty good. But they're going to do their best. I mean, they have to. That's what they're hired to do. So, if she takes the stand, that'll be so interesting. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this day in history. Dracula. This is in 1897. Bram Stoker's Dracula novel goes on sale. Yeah. It appeared in London bookshops on that day. A childhood invalid, Stoker grew up to become a soccer star at Trinity College in Dublin. After graduation, he got a job in civil service at the Dublin Castle, where he worked for the next 10 years while writing drama reviews for the Dublin Mail on the side. In this way, Stoker met the well-respected actor Sir Henry Irving, who hired him as a manager. Stoker stayed in the post for most of the next 3 decades, writing Irving's voluminous correspondence for him and accompanying him on tours in the United States. Over the years, Stoker began writing a number of horror stories for magazines, and in 1890 he published his first novel, The Snake's Pass. Stoker would go on to publish 17 novels in all, but it wasn't until 1897 that the novel Dracula, that eventually earned him literary fame and became known as a masterpiece of the Victorian-era Gothic literature, written in the form of diaries and journals of its main characters. Dracula is the story of a vampire who makes his way from Transylvania, a region of Eastern Europe, now in Romania, to Yorkshire, England, and preys on innocents there to get the blood he needs to live. Stoker had originally named the vampire Count Vampire, Vampyr. He found the name Dracula in a book on Wallachia and Moldavia written by retired diplomat William Wilkinson, which he borrowed from a Yorkshire public library during his family's vacations there. Vampires who left their burial places at night to drink the blood of humans were popular figures in folktales from ancient times, but Stoker's novel catapulted them into the mainstream of the 20th century literature. Upon its release, Dracula enjoyed moderate success, though when Stoker died in 1912, none of his obituaries even mentioned Dracula by name. Sales began to take off in the 1920s when the novel was adapted for Broadway. Dracula mania kicked into even higher gear with Universal's blockbuster 1931 film directed by Todd Browning and starring the Hungarian actor Bela Lugosi. Dozens of vampire-themed movies television shows, and literatures followed, though Lugosi, with his exotic accent, remains the quintessential Count Dracula. Late 20th century examples of the vampire craze include the best-selling novels of American writer Anne Rice. I love Anne Rice. And the cult hit TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And lest we forget, the 21st century saw the wildly popular Twilight film and book series. We cannot talk about vampires and not talk about Twilight. I never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Never watched it. Yeah, I was busy raising kids, not watching Buffy. No, I don't even know what I was watching. It was back in the 80s, right? Yeah. That's the show for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please don't forget the like button. He's struggling with the loom over there, but, he loves everybody. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow in Corrupting and Crime Day.